Hello everyone, and welcome to this month's sales technique, listening to your guest. Listening to your guest is very, very important because your guest is going to tell you information, if you know how to listen to it, that's going to help you capitalize on a whole abundance of different sales opportunities. Now, the most significant sales opportunity is going to be related to your wine sales, wines by the glass in particular. Now, if every bartender and waiter in your restaurant sells 50 glasses of wine per week on average, that means they're selling 2,600 glasses of wine per year. 2,600 glasses of wine per year, if we can increase them $2 per glass, means $5,200 more per year in sales for every waiter and bartender, which means $1,000 more in their pocket and a ton of money more in your pocket. Now, I'm going to show you how, by listening to the guest, there's a very simple way to do this. Now, I'm going to lay out a scenario for you that I'm sure happens half the time in your restaurant. A couple sits down, and for whatever reason, whether they like different wines or whether they're not going to finish a whole bottle, they decline the wine list. And you go to approach the table and you say, all right, what would you like to drink? And they say, well, we're going to have a glass of wine. This is a great opportunity right now to capitalize on a sale. Now, let's say the lady at the table says, I'd like a glass of Pinot Grigio. Now, if you're only hearing her, you're probably going to go order that Pinot Grigio and bring that glass of wine to her, which is great service, but again, you're not capitalizing on a fantastic sales opportunity. What is she telling you when she says she wants a glass of Pinot Grigio? If you're listening to her, she's telling you that she likes a light, crisp, acidic, refreshing glass of white wine. Now, if your wine list is laid out correctly, which I'm sure it is, you probably already have at least 3 or 4 different glasses of wine available that fit that exact profile. Now, as a server or a bartender, it is now your responsibility to qualify her for a sale other than Pinot Grigio. And it's very easy if you do it something like this. She says to you, I'll have a glass of Pinot Grigio. Your response should be something like this. Great, I've got a great Pinot Grigio by the glass. I love wines like Pinot Grigio myself. They're light, crisp, and refreshing. But if I can turn you on to something new, one of my favorites on our list that doesn't get a lot of attention unless I point it out is an Alsatian Pinot Blanc from Trimbach. It gives you the same acidity and the same refreshing qualities, but it's got a lot better fruit, a lot better minerality, and it's got a longer finish, a better mouthfeel to it. It's one of my favorite wines, and I'd love to have you try something new if you'd like to try it. Now, if you present it like that, it's nearly impossible for that guest to say no, and you've just done a great job making an easy sale out of something that started off as nothing. I'm going to guess Pinot Grigio is probably your least expensive wine by the glass, so now you've capitalized on this opportunity just by listening to what the guest likes. Now, at that same table, let's say that gentleman turns to you and says, you know, I'll just have a glass of your house Cabernet. Now, I don't know if I have to tell you this, but the house wines in this world only exist in dive bars, bowling alleys, and pizza places. Your list doesn't have house wines. You have a selection of house wines, and now it's your job to steer them into that wine that you want to sell. Now, you can do this in a couple of different ways. The first way is ask the guest. Say, I'm sorry, we don't really have a house Cabernet. What kind of Cabernets do you like? Now, the guest probably is going to tell you what style of wine that they like, and if they say, I like something that's earthy, and I like something that's more medium-bodied, then you can steer them into that Cabernet, or you can use that information that they're telling you to steer them into either a Spanish wine or an Italian wine. You can say, well, if you like something more medium-bodied that's got good fruit to it, I've got a great Rioja by the glass that I love myself, and if you like that style of wine, maybe I can turn you on to something new. Again, very difficult for your guest to say no. Now, the advanced waiter will take the opportunity with that same scenario and ask their guest the same question, but it goes something like this. So the guest says, I'll have a glass of house Cabernet. Now you respond, I'm sorry, we don't really have a house Cabernet, but what kind of Cabernets do you like? Do you like something that's more mild and earthy, or do you like something that's got more dark fruit to it, that's richer, more complex, and has a fuller, longer mouthfeel? Now, out of those two choices, which one would you choose? The second one, right? Obviously, I made it sound a lot better. But by making it sound better, I've now sold the more expensive of the 2 Cabernets that I have to offer. But more importantly, I've also found out that the guest likes dark, rich, fruity red wines, which leaves me now a window open to sell Shiraz or Malbecs or Petit Syrah, a whole abundance of different wines. And if you know your wines by the glass list, you can now steer them into a glass of wine that's not only more expensive so you make more money, but you can probably turn your guest onto a new type of wine that they're going to be a lot happier with. So everybody wins in this scenario. Remember, your guest experience is something that you never ever want to sacrifice. Now, this example can also pertain to wines by the bottle. If you notice that your guests are looking over your wine list, approach the table and ask them, say, hey, can I suggest a wine? I know our list fairly well and I've got some favorites. And they'll say, oh, well, I was just looking over this and that, and whatever they say, jump in and say, well, what kind of wines do you like? And by asking them that question, they are going to open themselves up to an abundance of different sales. If they say, I like red wines, you say, well, again, do you like something light or do you like something dark? If they like something light, have a Pinot Noir in the back of your mind ready to suggest. If they say they like something dark and rich and fruity, you can have a Cabernet. Again, you can have a Shiraz. You can have a Petit Syrah. But have something ready to reply when they give you that information. Because by listening to that guest, they're telling you what they want. All you have to do is point it out. Now use this information and practice it. And if you use it well, it should be absolutely no problem to increase your wine sales dramatically.